What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Luke's Mind Power. I have an amazing guest with me today. Her name is Elizabeth Wood from Doha in Qatar. Originally from the UK, she is an entrepreneur and speaker. She has a passion to inspire online and in person as she creates space for individuals to explore life's meanings and an open discussion to more abundance and success. She has graced the TEDx stage and she really values connection, authenticity, and curiosity for this human experience. With multiple identities, she embraces them all with love, which I cannot wait to find out more about. So please help me in welcoming Elizabeth Wood.
Hi, Luke. Thank you. That's a beautiful introduction, full of energy.
Absolutely.
I'm thrilled. That was lovely.
It's great to be connected with you and share this space. And that's what it's all about. It is all about high flow, high power,
Yeah.
high positive vibes, that energy. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Sending it and vibrating it through the screens and however you're listening or hearing or seeing. Awesome. Thank you, Luke.
Absolutely. So, first let's go straight into these multiple identities, because I know that you've got a story. I know that you've come from, different background and your own different experiences to get you to where you are now, to be this empowered, inspirational woman who is, connecting with individuals and helping them to have a space to inspire, to support, so let's just talk about those multiple identities. What does that mean? And how did you discover that? And now how do you use that in your life to every day?
Okay, awesome. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you want to know about my multiple identities, and I'm happy to share them with you. So as you guys know, maybe you might have come across this term, identity crisis. Has anyone heard of it? Right? So identity crisis, I mean, what does that mean anyway? It means that you have an identity or multiple identities and you're in a crisis due to them, because of how you feel about them, because of how others push their feelings and their preconceived ideas upon you, how you should be feeling about them. So I was like, why do we have to call it this? Why should it be identity crisis? Surely there's another term for something that is beautiful, as long as you are able to one day embrace all of those things. Why does it need to be coined crisis? Crisis management, identity crisis. Like, I was like, this needs to change. And that you spoke about the TEDx, and that's exactly what I wanted to speak about at TEDx, is that having multiple identities, whether it be from a mixed race background, whether it be from different cultures or different weaved cultures within subcultures that you may have experienced from traveling the world or living in different places or going to different schools, whatever it is for you. These are all identities that make up you, right? We are who we are because of those multiple, deeply complicated, complex, and beautiful identities, and identities within identities. So when I speak about my multiple identities, I'm referring to things such as not only my ethnic background, which is mixed, and I'll tell you about that in a second, also the way that I feel about myself, the feelings that I have when I go out into the world, the way that I express myself, the way that I choose to believe certain things in my life that suit me at this moment in time. And the multiple identities also include things such as past me's, past versions of myself. At 19 years old, I was empowered. I was still empowered, but I believed a lot of things that I don't believe now. And that's also okay, right? So it's kind of this acceptance within the self, this ability to embrace not the identities that you just have right now in the present moment, but the continuous flow of identities that one has always had. Yeah, whether it's in childhood, you might have had a certain identity, or someone has shoved you in a particular space whereby you're like, well, this isn't really me, but it is part of my identity because it was forced upon me. Okay, but accepting that, embracing the fact that it happened for a reason. So when I speak of multiple identities, for me, it's my ethnic background, it's my cultural understanding, it's my multifaceted cultural understanding from different areas of the globe. It's my belief system, my way of life. It's this multifaceted person that I am, this human that I am. Multifaceted meaning I love thousands of things that I consider within my identity. Like, for example, one of them, I used to be a hip hop dancer. Okay, from 12 years old until 17, 12 to 17, I was performing on stage. That hip hop was my life. Okay, and that is part of my identity. It just happens to be something that I am not, doing now anymore, but it doesn't mean that I don't thrive on the nostalgia, that beautiful nostalgia of what once was. And it just, I mean, I don't know if anyone can resonate. You go back in time and you say, that was me.
Yep.
And it is me now. It really is me. I'm here and I'm like this because of that.
Beautiful.
So that's what it means to me, Luke. It means so many things. My mother is from the Philippines, an island in the far east of Asia, and we're from Bicol. It's one of the regions that has a huge volcano and it's still active. So a lot of like my nature-y type of stuff goes back to the heritage of being around this beautiful volcano called the Mayon volcano. And my dad is from the UK and he's from Yorkshire, and he's like a Yorkshire man, very much connected to nature. So that too, being with nature is also part of my identity, right? Many identities. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It really answers my question. And it really has just inspired me as well, because it's teaching me a lot about my own personal journey for you to explain it like that, because I was quite strongly believing within myself that I know everything happens for a reason. I know that I went through all of these stages in my life and all these experiences and all this heartache and all this drug abuse and all this, disconnection from myself of being a little bit confused, or actually being a lot, very confused as to why I was here. What was my purpose? What was I brought here to achieve and to do? And so I was actually in a state of being where I was letting that go, who I was a couple of years ago. I was like, I'm not that person anymore, but when you put it that way, that you have multiple identities, and it's okay to leave that part of your life and move forward. But that doesn't mean that was not you. It still is.
Yes.
But it's just making it more clearer that you've chosen to go in a different direction, and those things that you were experiencing, or what you went through, or how you were living, is not serving your higher good
anymore
at this point.
Absolutely. I love how you phrased it, in that you were letting go, but actually I say the opposite. I embrace. It's like I did want to let go at one point, because I was like, oh, that's so embarrassing. Or for example, now, especially with one of my values is, let's say, an adapted, or my higher, you said, do you say higher power or something on your higher journey?
Self. Your higher self.
So like I've adopted this higher self. For me, it means modesty and kind of focusing on the intellectual me, the emotionally intelligent me, rather than the kind of half naked me. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that.
For sure.
That's someone's value to express themselves that way. I'm fully inclusive, and I have no issues with whatever anyone else is doing. But for me personally, the reason that I used to be ashamed, and that's probably what you meant by letting go, I found a way to, I'm not ashamed. I embrace who I once was, and it's because it has made me who I am now. So
Beautiful.
Without that element, I would not be me. So I embrace it. I say thank you to those experiences. You and I have something in common, maybe. Did you say that you were upon some kind of faith before and you kind of left that behind? I was a Roman Catholic growing up, and I've decided to not follow that way of life anymore.
Well, look, so I was going to touch on, I don't want to talk too much about religion, but it did play a big part in my life for a long time. And, I respect everyone of faith, and I don't have any preconceived, a dogma against anyone who believes in whatever they want to believe. It is your life, and it is your choice to do what makes you happy and what gives you that sense of connection, and whatever it is, do what makes you happy and what's right for you. But I was raised really strict in a strict Catholic family. My parents are still very, very strict, and not strict, but just, they really practice it and believe in it, and I had to, for me to grow and for me to open my heart to the world and to be able to be speaking from a universal platform, from a universal tongue, I had to let that go, and I'd like to say that this is a beautiful moment for me to be speaking with you, who's of the Muslim faith. And I would have never have done this 4 years ago or 5 years ago. I was so closed-minded, and I just believed what I was taught, what I was raised in. I would have never had friends or tried to even communicate or built that connection with people who were not Catholic. It just wasn't right,
Wow.
and that, when I look at that, it was just, again, I see it as people who live that way right now. It's sad, because it does form a disconnection between humanity. And that's the one reason why I kind of distance myself from religion, because I don't want, and that's how I see it. It divides people, and it divided me. And that's why I disconnected myself from the whole belief system of religion. But again, there's so much truth in so many different religions. And so I don't say that it's bad. I say it's take what you feel is necessary and what feels right for you, and use that wisdom and make your best life from it.
Well, absolutely. And it has to be according to your core. So religion is such a long topic, and as you said, you don't want to get into it, and neither do I, because religion is a construct. Okay, let's be honest, it's a stamp and it's a construct. What we're looking at is the universal tongue, as you said, the ability to connect with billions of people across the world, regardless of their background, regardless of their multiple identities, or what they do choose to believe in, or their faith system, right, their walk of life, to be able to get curious, right? Because one of my core values is curiosity. I am here
Yes.
today. I'm doing what I'm doing because I am immensely curious, and sometimes to my detriment, when you go down the rabbit hole and you're like, oh, I don't want to see that, but I saw it, that type of thing. So I try to balance my curiosity, my connection, trying to be the best version of myself, and rippling that effect, hopefully, to the wider audience, you guys, everyone who's listening.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Elizabeth, tell me a little bit about some adversity that has really constructed your life. There's definitely things that would have given you this fuel, this drive to want to be able to use your gift of communication to inspire and support people. Where did that fire come from?
I'd say the gift and the beauty of adversity is the fact that how much better can you communicate with others after that? I mean, imagine you've been through something deep, traumatizing, whatever you want to label it, and someone comes along and says, when you've already healed, or you've already kind of, lifted your head up and been able to get over that. Imagine someone comes along and says, you know what, I'm going through this. And you're like, whoa, say more. And then what happens? The connection, the vulnerability is allowed to be released between two people or more, if it's in a group or what have you, to be able to support the person that didn't know how to get out, or at least you empower them to empower themselves, to maybe see things from a different perspective. That couldn't have happened. That magic couldn't have happened if you didn't go through that adversity. You mentioned the drug abuse and so on. It's almost like, what did you get out of that adversity that now you'd say, you know what, thank you so much that happened to me. It's worth it, right? So I now say that adversity for me is worth it. The fire, the passion that came from things that were sad at the time is definitely a way for me to connect on a deeper level, a more vulnerable level with people around me now, in the future, especially women. Okay, so women don't like to talk about certain things, and if ever we talk about it, it's things like miscarriage, things like women's issues that no one's like, oh, everyone has one. It's kind of like, well, then you're desensitizing it. You're not talking about it in a proper way. It's like mental health. What happens to mental health gets swept under the rug, doesn't it? No one wants to talk about it for fear of being depressing. Oh, don't come here and depress me. Yeah. So instead, let's turn adversity into strength. I myself have been through a miscarriage before. It's not pleasant, okay? And now I can say, you know what? I thank that experience. I thank that identity or that thing that happened to me for the sole purpose that if that can be channeled into someone else's healing, as well as my own resilience, building that resilience, then that was absolutely worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah, I think it's in the moment that we are challenged. It is in the conscious experience of what is happening to you at that present point, whether it's a death or you've just had a breakup in your relationship or something that you're emotionally attached to, and that's disappeared or it's gone. So in that moment, for me now, after all these different experiences that I've been through, I first of all, I say everything happens for a reason. Then I say the lesson will keep showing up until you learn it. Then I say, if I look at this in hindsight, it will eventually make sense. And so that's how I flip my mindset when something goes wrong or when something's not working for me, because I know from my past experiences that that pain and adversity is a lesson. It's teaching me something. And even though I feel hurt or I can't explain it or I'm anxious or I'm worried, I'm able to step back now and just think hindsight. It's happening for a reason. There's a lesson here. And pain is your biggest teacher.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It builds resilience, strength, courage, growth. I can't begin to reel out as many beautiful things. Gratitude. Gratitude that,
Oh,
that
yeah.
you're
Look, absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of the biggest things, gratitude, obviously, to practice it every day. But as you mentioned, multiple identities to reflect on who you were. I look back at all those versions of myself and I have so much gratitude for all those experiences, right? Because it's made me who I am. And that is a blessing, really.
Absolutely. Mindset is key. I'm glad you said that. Mindset, the ability to see things from a different perspective, turning the question into why me into, okay, why am I learning this? What is it? What am I supposed to be learning from this?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a big challenge for a lot of people, because it's definitely, yeah, you're being challenged, you're being, put in that corner. And it's like the universal God is saying to you, I need you to learn, I need to build you up. I need to make you stronger. I need you to suffer right now, because without that suffering, you don't get that fuel. And that's, it's truly, truly powerful. So you have this other Instagram page called Inspire Me. How did that come all about? And also tell us about your TEDx speaking event, because I'm very intrigued. I see myself on the stage as well. Obviously, we're dealing with this pandemic at the moment with COVID, and it's not favorable for people to be around in large groups and all that kind of stuff. So it's not easy to get up on stage in front of people. And it's probably one of the biggest fears most people have is public speaking. So how did you come up with the idea of even what you're doing in Doha, bringing people together, having those groups, and then that taking you to the stage?
Okay, so Inspire Me was created in 2017. That's when I decided to take a leap, and I quit my decade-long, 9 to 5. 9 to 5 here. It's 7 to 4. It's really weird because it's so hot, right? So they start at 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I managed to pluck up the courage to resign from my full-time job and become a full-time entrepreneur. I opened Inspire Me, which is also a career change because my background is in public relations and communications, and then I switched to coaching and mentoring. So I know that there's a lot of overlap, but it's still a brand new, completely new industry. Okay, so went through all the coaching process, all the necessary things that I needed to learn to educate myself. So I was relearning, and that sparked, you know, when you relearn something for the first time, the energy that comes with that is out of this world. You start seeing things differently. People start approaching you differently. Your whole being is, I don't know, you even start dressing differently. It's very empowering to learn something new, even though it can be scary at the beginning. So I opened Inspire Me, something that I never thought I could do. So there's a self-esteem thing riding along there, right? For everyone who thinks that you can't do it, you can friggin' do it. It's just, Luke, you love to say action. It really is about action. Talk is cheap. We can talk all day about self-esteem issues. We can talk all day about not having the money, the resources, blah, 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 to open a business. Action is key. So I opened Inspire Me. And what happened is I started doing these free weekly webinars. Oh, sorry, not then. Webinars now because of COVID. Back then it was physical group gatherings talking about personal development, coaching, mentoring, just upgrading oneself, really. And organically it grew and grew and grew, and people started to notice. And at the time, Qatar University approached me and said, look, I know that you're not an Arab, because they were trying to save the space for Arabic people or Arabic speaking people to take the stage to give something from their community outward. And that makes sense, right? Because there's TEDx all over the world. So it makes sense that someone of their own, right, would be invited. However, they said, you know what, we would love to invite you anyway. You have to do an audition. So for those of you who aren't familiar with TEDx, please do know that it's not just one of those things where you get called in and you're on. You have to go through like 3-4 auditions. It's really strange. At the same time, if you get shortlisted, you get given a coach. So those of you who are worried about public speaking or it's a bit nerve-wracking, you will be given a coach to coach you through whatever script or whatever nuggets of wisdom you want to give the world in your speech. And that's how it came about. I decided to choose identity phenomena. So we spoke about identity crisis.
Yep.
I recoined the term and I decided to call it, it's a phenomena. It's something amazing. It's something we don't understand. It's complex. It's beautiful. And I spoke about, in the TEDx talk, I spoke about me embracing all these different parts of me and not always having to justify, oh, I'm from here and I'm from here, but I'm this, right? This whole construct issue, I wanted to move away from it. And I introduced myself as, I am, you know, curious, I am connected, I am authentic. These are the things that I love, rather than introducing myself the status quo way, right? When you meet someone for the first time, Luke, what do you say? Hey, buddy. What do you say?
My name is... Hey, what's going on? My name's Luke. Yeah.
My name is, and what else? What's the next thing? My name is Luke, and I'm...
What? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm from Australia.
Yeah, right.
I'm 35 years old. I'm sexy. I'm sexy.
Yeah.
I'm tall.
Stuff that defines you. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
It's just this rolling off the tongue thing. It's, hi, how are you? And the person is almost expecting you to say your name, where you're from, what you do. Those three things at least.
Yep.
And not only that, this is maybe the Middle East kind of issue. I don't know if it's the same in Australia, but if you say to someone, hi, my name is Elizabeth and I'm from the UK, you get a look and then they're like, where are you really from?
Yeah.
So that's I don't know if that ever happens in Australia, but when someone doesn't look where they say they're from, and when we're talking about nationality here.
Yep.
There is this up and down look of, you don't match my limited mindset of what an English person looks like, i.e. blonde, blue eyes, definitely not wearing a scarf. So, instead of asking about the real you, what you deeply connected to, where are you really from? And this ethnic issue seems to be so important in that moment when, even if I tell you I'm half Filipino, half British, is that going to make you okay then? Well, no, because I don't look Filipina either. So then they dig even more, and it becomes this need to justify to another person where you're from. And that conversation goes off tangent then, doesn't it?
Oh, Elizabeth, I used to do that all the time. It was whoever I met, whether it was a girl or a guy, it would be like, where are you, what's your background? That was always the first question. What's your background? You know, because we only wanted to be assimilated, or we wanted to make sure that we could connect with that person, because if they were from a specific culture or background, then we judged them. And I used to judge, and I actually detached myself from that question of even bothering to ask, especially girls, where are you from? I don't care where you're from, you know. But even just anyone, I don't care where you're from. It's not about that, because it's who you are is from within, not from the outside. And I had to learn that when I was in the Shaolin Temple, because once I was there for about a week, I got accustomed to that location, and I was like a dog in the backyard, where you're very protective over your land. And so every new person that came in, I would be looking at them and I would be judging them for the way that they presented themselves and just the way they looked. And I didn't even know them, you know? So I completely get where you're coming from. And it's, I guess, yeah, the more that we can bring awareness to the issue, the more that we can make people or help people come to the realization that we are not what we look like. We are what we are from within.
Absolutely. So that, just to answer your question about TEDx, absolutely what you said. We are programmed. Okay, a lot of us are programmed from childhood. Where are you from? Where are you really from? But you're brown. But you're black. But you're, you have some Asian eyes. Are you sure you're not like, And that becomes stereotypical. It becomes judgmental, and then how much of the conversation is spent on figuring out where someone's from, when you can get to know someone by their deepest core values and click with them like this in an instant. Connection can be like wildfire. Someone might say, oh, I love connection. I love, getting together with new people and learning about them. Oh, me too. That's awesome. And then you've already created this high energy on the simple fact that both of you are connectors. Both of you are value, sustainability. Both of you value, I don't know, diversity, whatever it is that are your core values. You can talk about that, the inner, the things that matter.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
in a nutshell. And Inspire Me just kept going, and we seek to empower and inspire the youth. We do a lot of youth mentoring and coaching, as well as adults and regular people.
And in terms of the coaching, what is it? Is there a specific direction that you coach in, or something that most people need support in, or is it just a broad field where you have different programs for people that want to, that need support, or want to be directed in a certain way, or just want their happiness back?
Sure. Well, in terms of direction, we direct according to the coachee. So the one that comes, they're leading the show. It's kind of like, have you ever heard of, student-led education or whatever?
Sure.
It's kind of like that, client-led, okay? It's all to do with what the client wants. What are
That's
they
right.
seeking? The coach takes the back seat. The coach is the mirror, okay? And that's what I love about coaching more so than therapy. And then this isn't to diss therapy or anything, because it's needed, of course, at certain times. But coaching, really, it's more about empowerment. It's like, okay, what do you want to bring to the session today? What do you want to talk about? And we support people to empower themselves that way. We do have different programs. For example, right now we have the art of self-coaching. So, with this whole pandemic and people, economically struggling, it's not the best of times to hire a coach, okay? Even though you might want to invest in yourself. What if you were to learn the competencies, the key core competencies of how to coach? And if you were to coach oneself and dig deeper and have the tools to do that, that's one of the courses that we offer. There's another one for couples about, understanding the different dynamics of couples coaching. For example, if, you've got different personality traits that you really just don't get for whatever reason, and kind of digging deeper in, he said this, but she meant that, and she meant this. And so it really depends on the coachee. And sometimes we custom make programs as well. So it really depends. The direction is always from the coachee.
That's beautiful, because everyone is different, and it's really just allowing the applicant to give you their story or their experience of where they're at in their life right now, and you being able to take that and then go, okay, we need to focus on this and this, so that you can build them up, which is awesome.
I will tell you some running themes that I've noticed. I'm not enough is one big one.
Yeah.
I'm not like I think every single client that comes to me, it goes, when you ask always what's deeper and what's behind that and what's under that, what's beneath that. It always comes down to, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not capable enough, or what have you. I'm not a good mom. It always comes down to I'm not good enough. So limiting beliefs, right? So you love talking about limiting beliefs. It's all about smashing those down and empowering the person to find out from themselves, why do they even believe that anyway? Where did that come from? So I'm not enough is a running theme. And another one is, yes, fear of public speaking, by the way. The ability to express oneself is usually one of the goals that every single client to date has come up with. The inability, I can't express myself for fear of someone thinking that I am XYZ.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? How our minds are conditioned that way to really be so concerned about what other people are thinking.
Monologue, right? You're thinking, like, you go out and you're wearing something, you're like, I wonder if he's thinking this. I wonder if did she look at me because I'm doing that, or because, and they're probably not thinking jack, right? They've got their own shit going on. You're just like a random person flying by. Like, most of the time, people don't care at all.
Yeah.
And if they do, well, it's a reflection of themselves, right? It's not about you.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, look, I really believe in if you do want to grow, making videos, getting on social media, communicating, and opening up yourself to facing and making fear your friend is a powerful way for you to actually grow in confidence within yourself. Yeah. Because again, because we're scared of it, it's actually one way that it's holding us down. And it's not about you becoming a speaker. It's just about you getting the courage to go, you know what, I'm going to just do this because I got a voice. Yeah. And your voice is powerful. There's people that will hear you and say, wow, I never thought you would do that. I never thought you would do a video and you would talk. And then at the beginning, they may be confused, but the more, like, I know for myself, I know that people who know me would have been like, what the hell is he doing? I know that people would have had that reaction because I was a complete opposite person 6 months before that, so yeah, speaking, communication in front of people or on video is a challenge, but it's a very fulfilling experience when
it is, isn't it? Liberating.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I resonate with you, Luke, because before 2017, so that's when I opened Inspire Me, there wasn't a single photo of me still or in motion on the internet. Not a single photo. Not even like a work caption where someone took a picture of me and then it's like Elizabeth Wood. Nothing. So that was my first ever kind of step out, break out of the comfort zone experience, was showing my face, literally my who I am on social media, whether it be in speech or in, oh, here's a picture of me. I didn't even have pictures on Facebook, like with friends and family. And that's not because I was shy. It's just because I was like, oh, no need, nothing to say, right? Nothing to say. and now it's like, well, what if you were to say something? Would people listen? And then when I got hired for this podcast, it was called those days Doha Heat. I think it still exists. I was the host of Doha Heat, and then I was the host of another podcast, which is now called Rasif, which means the curb. In Arabic, Rasif means curb, and it's like the nostalgia of the days back then when no one was on their phone all the time, when you used to hang out in the neighborhood, and you sit on the curb, right? Sit on the curb with your friends, and you bring back all that nostalgia, and you call on people, you knock on their door rather than call, and tell them ahead of time. Yep. So Rasif was, it used to be called I Heart Doha, and then they changed the name. So that gave me podcasting. This is what you're doing, Luke, is awesome. If you're shy, or not even shy, if you're afraid of exposing yourself or speaking, go and just freaking break your comfort zone and force yourself to speak by hook or by crook. And podcasting is one of the ways to do that.
Absolutely. there's all these different avenues of platforms that you can utilize to expose yourself, and again, even if you don't have a business, or even if you're not trying to build something like that, again, it really is all about self-expression, and do something out of your comfort zone that will push you, because a lot of us are living in that scarcity mindset and that fear. So yeah,
You're
absolutely.
your own brand. Yeah, even if you don't have a brand per se, like a business, you are your brand. You are the advocate for Luke. Yeah, the people who are listening, you're the advocate for yourself, enter your name here, type thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely. So how does, look, spirituality is a big thing that I've come to learn over the last 12 months, and I've connected a lot more with myself, and I meditate daily, and I never really, when I first started, I didn't like to say the word spiritual awakening, because I
Yeah.
was like, that's a bit weird, or I don't really get what that means. But I was more into like the cool way of saying I'm woke or whatever. But it's actually true. I did have a spiritual awakening, because I woke up to my own energy, to my own source, to my own being, and I grew from the person that I was to find out that, wow, I have a gift, and that I have something to give to the world, and it all came from within me, right? So how does spirituality work for you with what you do and how you live?
Okay, so spirituality, I'm smiling because I resonate with what you said about sounds a bit funny or don't want to, I'd just rather say woke. Okay, so I'm like the hippie of the family. Okay, so I don't even know if like that's just the word that people use to describe me. Okay, she's the one that doesn't like take medicine ever. She's the, like, I'm always put in this box, like even since I was young, so it's not something new. I was always the one, because of curiosity, saying, well, I'm not going to take that. Where's it been? Who says? Well, the doctor says, Liz. That they would say the doctor says you have to take this. I'm like, I'm not taking that. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was I was always this kind of challenging. It was curiosity, not to rebel, not at all, not to rebel or think that I am superior or anything like that. It was always like, I don't know what's in this product. Especially things like, not going to get into it, but certain medication, aren't really that great for you. So I was always is there a healthier way to do this? The
Mm-hmm.
connection with nature again. And my mom's from the Philippines, so they've got this native thing. They do have native potions and
Yeah,
herbs
yeah,
and all this.
yeah.
So from childhood, that was kind of applauded in our family. It's like, okay, never mind, you don't want to do that way, then we have another option. But not everyone has that other option, especially Western medicine. Yeah, they're from the West and that type of thing. So I would say spirituality for me was always being connected to nature. It was always doing things outside the status quo that doctors say, or so and so says, mainstream media say that you're supposed to do this. I was always the I don't know, black sheep, hippie, the spiritual one that was always kind of floating around. So I say that, they used to make fun of me because of, like, never mind. They used to even call my mom a witch. They say, oh, the witch, the one that has really high, she had really amazing intuition. And they say usually that people who have amazing intuition, it's because they are grounded with nature. There's something in that, like Native Indians, there's something in their culture that binds them to nature, and therefore they're able to have this foresight, or whatever it might be, the ability to understand animals because of that unity with nature. And what's happening nowadays, we're not in it enough. We're just not in it. So spirituality for me is, despite COVID and despite everything, I need my beach, I need my water, I need to like touch the ground or whatever. As hippie-ish as that may sound, to me that's spirituality. To me that keeps me going. It keeps me whole, it keeps me energized. And I'm not shy about saying it. It's okay.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I like to go outside and touch the grass, and be connected with all the trees that are in the back of my house, because there's a big like kind of forest area, and I'm like, well, if I'm standing on this grass right now, then it's connected to the earth, and it's connected to all those trees, and there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of energy
Yeah.
in those trees, because the earth is energy, right? And so, yeah, I resonate with what you're saying. And it's, we are disconnected from the earth. You know, we're wearing shoes all the time. We're wearing clothes. We're on, you know, in our houses, which are completely disconnected from the earth. So,
Don't forget we're eating with utensils, okay? We're eating with utensils, okay? I don't eat with utensils, I eat with my hands.
oh,
Okay, but
really?
then yeah, that's an Asian thing, right? So in the
Okay.
Philippines, you eat rice with your hands.
Yeah,
And then
nice.
obviously, so with my English family, they're, oh, that's so disgusting, right? So you've got this, I've already forget about you know, like later on when I decided other things in my life, already the fact that you are half something and half something else, you'll have intricacies in your culture that the other culture doesn't accept. So you kind of kind of used to it, really, not fitting
Yeah,
in here, fitting in there. So
yeah, yeah.
I'll embrace it instead and just be something unique. It's okay with me.
Well, I know from living in certain parts of Sydney in Australia, I grew up around a very Middle Eastern culture. Most of the people were Lebanese, and so I know from, you know, uh, their what is it, the food that they eat,
Yeah.
um, with the Lebanese bread. So they would use the Lebanese bread to, you know, I remember picking up the food with the Lebanese bread, or filling the Lebanese bread with food and then just eating it. And so using your hands.
Yeah,
Um,
you can. And by the way, your hands are cleaner when you wash them than the utensils that, especially in restaurants and stuff, you don't know where they've been.
yeah, of
It's just,
course.
you know, it's just mindset, right? As you said, it's this open mind, the ability to say, oh, okay, is it disgusting? Who told me it was disgusting? Who and when and why? And is it from the media? Is it from movies where everyone's sitting so politely? And you know, I mean, I remember even having this issue with, is the fork in my left hand or is the fork in my right hand? Right, again, because I switch them around, and then that's not polite. So there's this whole thing about constructs, about
Yeah,
your
it's
authentic,
everything.
you know, it wanes, your authenticity wanes when you're kind of attached, or attached to constructs.
Yeah, well, that's culture, right? That's the way that we've been brought up. That's the way that our parents were brought up. That's the way that our parents were brought up. And so it's up to you now, right, to make that discerned uh, decision to say, hang on a second, you guys are eating the fork with your right hand. I'm going to eat it with my left, or I'm not going to eat it without. I'm going to not even use them. I'm just going to use my hands. And so, you know what, I have to acknowledge you for that, because just being weird or being labeled crazy or being labeled different or doing things that are odd to other people, I'm getting used to that, because my niece keeps asking me these questions as to why I do all the things that I'm doing. And I just keep telling her that I'm weird and I'm crazy and your uncle's different, you know?
In an amazing way.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's kind of just owning who you are. And unfortunately, it is the process of breaking through those barriers, because people do see it as, you know, you're not conforming to their way of life. It's different. They haven't seen that before. And so you'll get judged.
Yeah, you'll get judged, but you know what, you'll find other people who will sprout out of nowhere, you know, and they will be your family, they will be your I don't know, your spiritual connection. Okay, so that's the other thing you asked about spirituality. For me, it's nature, it's also people. I've connected with people on such deep levels that, just like you, I would never expect that I would even talk to those types of people, whether because of, you know, living in different countries or having preconceived ideas or whatever. So spirituality for me is also connecting with like-minded, universal, open-minded, inclusive individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, welcome to the family, Elizabeth.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Look, it's been a great conversation. You're really inspirational, and I've really enjoyed uh, having this time and being able to be so open, vulnerable, transparent, and sharing your own wisdom, because you have a lot of it. And I know that there's so much more for you to come. I know you're already making a massive impact in your area, but you know, the world is waiting for you, and I'm excited to see your own growth and your journey with where you take this.
Absolutely, Luke. I mean, it's just like you said, you want to be on a stage one day. No doubt that you will be. You will be because you take action. Okay. So it's inevitable. It will happen.
Oh
So,
yeah,
and
I know. There's many stages that are waiting for me. They've got my name on it.
awesome. And that's the way we should be. Self-belief. For me, I
Absolutely.
see it as global. I don't see it as obviously not limited to Doha. This is just where it
Beautiful.
began. You
Beautiful.
know, so far I've started to branch out into the Philippines for obvious reasons. Is trying to empower the people that, you know, they spend, I don't know if you know about this, but Filipinos, they're from a third world country. So what they do is they come to the Middle East to earn a living, to have a better life. And what ends up happening is they are disempowered by the unfortunate kind of weight that is put on them. Oh, you're just a Filipino, you're just there to work. Yeah, you're just, you know, sadly, okay, second class or whatever. It's horrible. It's very, very horrible. It's something that I'm passionate about, and the Filipinos need to be inspired from the Philippines before they come here, to know
Amazing.
their rights, to know their human rights, to know how assertive they are allowed to be, to know that they are allowed a day off. You would be surprised about some of the stuff that goes on here, which doesn't need to be spoken about today. But the point is, they need to be empowered before they get here, so they know exactly how they can hold their ground and not be pushed over, because it's part of, there's something in the Asian community that says I will just do everything for everyone and stay subdued and quiet and not ask for my rights, even though they are, you know, they're there for me. That's
Yeah,
my next
amazing.
journey is, yeah, that's it,
Yeah,
that's the next step.
absolutely. I mean, it is challenging from that point of view, with it being a third world country, it being, you know, poorer, challenging for people to survive and to actually make a good living. So they're forced to then travel overseas. And because they're already living on that low vibration, then they kind of feel like they don't have a choice but to listen to, right? So
Yes,
that's it.
you don't
That's
have a,
it. A huge mission you're on, and a huge calling, and I know that you're going to be successful, and I know that we're going to stay connected, because you know, I know that there's a big possibility that we're definitely going to be able to do some work together in the future. So
thank you.
Elizabeth, thank you so much. Where can people find you?
So you guys can find me. I'm more active on my Instagram, but now that Luke is promoting Facebook and everything, I'm going to try my best to up that. So Inspire Me QA, it's all one word. Inspire Me QA is my Instagram handle, and my website is www.inspireme, all one word, inspireme.qa. So QA stands for Qatar. And Facebook, it's Inspire Me by Elizabeth Wood. I'm hoping to be more active. So if you guys follow me on Facebook and I can, you know, push this live through my Facebook channel, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Elizabeth, you are extraordinary. It's a blessing to share this space. I'm so grateful, and I've learned a lot from you. Thank you very much. You know, this is one thing that I really love, is connecting, and is you know, I don't know everything. I am a student as much as I am a teacher, and you know, your time is valuable as well. So I really appreciate the fact that you shared this this space with me. Before we go, I have one question. What is your definition of loving yourself?
Loving myself. Loving myself is embracing all of my identities, whatever is now and has ever been, and prioritizing me, prioritizing me, because then I can give back to others even more. When I'm okay, when I'm in love with myself, I can give even more.
That's the powerful stuff right there. Elizabeth Wood, thank you so much.
Thank you, Luke. Take care.